Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Good evening. We are now tuning in to oh my goodness, the Flower Cup action for another weekly broadcast, another race for us to sink our teeth into. Greg Jennings here. Very excited for this race ahead of us tonight, and I am also excited because I am joined by none other than MCP Checo, the Mushroom Cup league racer who definitely is known to create some highlight reels for sure. How are you doing tonight, Checo?
Doing okay. With just first time commentating, and I'm really excited to see these guys get after it and kill some laps on in Coda.
Yes, yes. So we are here for Coda tonight. The I would argue best track stateside we currently have out of the current calendar. So very excited for this one. And we are in a combination that is not very common. F2 and Coda, as far as I'm aware, has never happened. So we are in unfamiliar territory, but that creates some very exciting moments, I'm sure, for us ahead. Tonight is going to be the similar F2 setup we've had in the past few races now. Of course, starting with the one-shot qualifying, where everyone will be setting a lap simultaneously at the same time with the same track conditions. And then that will lead us into the sprint race, where the top 10 from that qualifying session will be reversed 10 through 1 and 1 through 10, and vice versa. And then after the sprint race, we will head into the longer, more important feature race, which will, I'm sure, contain even more highlights. We are now getting ready. The timer is counting down for this race. There will be no formation lap. Or sorry, no, we're not even getting to the race yet. There will be no warning until this qualifying session starts. Checo, if you don't mind, I would love if you take us through a lap, driver of your choice, while I get the link going here. Just let me know who you're watching.
Absolutely. All right, so we're gonna going on a lap with Hazy Ozzy, last season's champion, as he goes into turn one, approaching it wide. That way he can hit the apex at the exit. Does a pretty good exit. I like F2 because you don't have the battery use. It's really on the driver themselves to actuate their car how they want it to be, so that way they can hit every apex the way that they want it, and they don't need to rely on an extra, what is it, 200 horsepower that you get from the F1 car. And as we're approaching the end of Sector 1, Hazy is doing a really good job with his exits and cornering speeds, both entrances and exits to those turns. And as he's approaching into the long back straight, going into the second DRS zone of this lap, and he's hitting up top speeds of 185 miles an hour, going into that sharp chicane, or a sharp left-hander, going at the end of Sector 2. He just set purple Sector 2, as my data is telling me, as a 115. And all the drivers are on the super softs. We only have two disqualifiers or two retires right now. We got Solrak and we got JMR4. One of those drivers I've never heard of before, but we got 16 drivers now that need to finish up their laps. Hazy Ozzy is going into the last DRS and finishes in. It's telling me that he got disqualified. Yeah, he got disqualified,
Yes,
so he's starting in P17.
that's
We
correct,
have.
Checo. Very good. Very good commentary on that lap. I just wanted to say I saw Hazy Ozzy go wide there. I believe it was turn 19, the second last left-hander. I believe that's where that infraction was.
Oh, right, yeah, on the exit of that corner. Yep, you are correct. And as you see, Zavgab0407 from Campos, has set the pole lap of 1 minute 46.8.
Awesome. So Zav is going to take the pole position, and that will put him initially, on 10th place for the sprint race. Will that allow him to hopefully show us some overtaking and some ballsy moves out there on the track? I'm looking forward to this one. COTA is a great track that really lends itself to close racing, and also some very difficult setup variations and choices to be made. Let's see how the drivers navigate this first sprint race. And the weather is completely dynamic as far as I'm aware, so most likely we will be seeing a dry event this weekend, but you never know. Sometimes things can happen. And looks like that is where we currently are, with a dry, sunny track, sunny skies overhead, getting ready now for the sprint race. And the drivers are selecting their strategies. One thing with F2 is the tires are predetermined for you. You only have two of them, or two different types, I should say, that you can use. So it really kind of forces everyone to do kind of similar things, but there is still some room for variation in there. But right now we are just getting ready for this event. COTA is seen as the spearhead for F1's return and emergence into the U.S. And then, with tracks recently as Miami and Las Vegas, we kind of have COTA to thank for that. Take that what you will. But anyway, we are getting ready for this sprint race. Anything you want to call out, Checo? Anyone we should keep an eye on? Oh, looks like the 5 red lights are going on. I'll give you a second later, Checo. The 5 red lights are going on. The drivers are ready, and we are off with Ali taking the first pole position here, inheriting that from the sprint race. Stefan, though, is going to immediately move to the inside of Ali up the uphill left-hander of turn 1. And Stefan will take the lead and look to run away from the rest of the field. We have JJ now behind him. Kev Wood is slowly sneaking up there, making some moves into P3. As the drivers now head through the winding turn 3 through, I believe it's 9 complex. We had some contact in the back there. But anyway, the drivers are heading now through turn 9, the very crucial turn 9 that opens up to the straight, as we see them take turn 8 here. Now through turn 9 with Ali suffering there, losing many spots starting in P2. Oh, in contact there, Ali, and I think that was Zakario. Ali sticking his nose on the inside. Zakario getting collected in that, and Zakario has come off worse of that one.
And we have our first penalty awarded to JJ Knotts for exceeding track limits 3 times already. And so we have our first penalty. The guy who set the original pole time of Zavgab is now in P10. He did fall a couple spots at the beginning, but he has crept back up again to P10.
And we
there was some contact at on the S section of Sector 1 between T-Bone and Bellestu, but that contact was very minimal. However, Bellestu came off the worst for wear, as we see Zav and JMR4 battling out for 10th place.
Oh, and Zav cuts to the inside. Very nice. Also, while you were speaking, Checo, sorry, Kev Wood had a very good opportunity to take the lead there off JJ, but JJ did battle back with some really nice defense into Sector 3. Kev Wood now lining up the move potentially into the uphill turn 1. It's a great place to go late on the brakes and try and catch someone off guard. What'll happen here? Kev Wood dives to the inside, takes the sharper, more shallow line. Can JJ hold the speed around the outside? Looks like he does, and JJ remains in front, but as Checo mentioned earlier, he has that 3 second already, and I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to get more than that. So he needs to keep an eye on that as you see him go off the track 2 times in a row there. Perhaps his car needs a little bit more wing.
Yeah, perhaps we've noticed in these other F2 races that you need a lot more downforce than what other setups are for these tracks. And these cars are very, very heavy, and they don't have a lot of power to compensate for that heaviness. As I alluded to in the qualifying session, you don't have that extra horsepower they get from the battery to compensate for the weight of these cars.
Oh, and as you're saying that, Checo Zudi and Isasko come to blows coming out of turn 11, with Isasko losing 3 spots because of that. And one thing we actually didn't mention is the tire allocations here. So we have the majority of the field on the medium tire, but the top 3, Tej through JJ Knotts, are on the super soft, the softer tire. I imagine, though, that tire is going to be very worn, as we see, I think that was, who is that? Zudi going very deep there through turn 12.
Yeah,
oh, and Isasko.
Really wide, and T-Bone and Isasko, or T-Bone and JMR4 taking advantage of that. off moment for Zudi.
Yeah, and so I was trying to get this across earlier, but the action just couldn't let me. The tires, very interesting. I think the Super Softs are really going to wear very quickly. I don't think they're going to be able to get to the end around this very abrasive, very harsh, punishing circuit. Particularly the front tires are going to be destroyed as we see the penalties now racking up, and we see that front grip dropping off. So I think these top three are hoping for a safety car for sure. With Sweetige now battling JJ, and JJ and Sweetige make slight contact on the exit of turn 1, but Tige is through. And now he's looking to take the fight to Kevwood, who is also on the Super Softs, but these two have a history together. And Tige is just...
JMR4 and T-Bone going into the S section of Sector 1. Battling it out, almost like Robert Kubica and Felipe Massa did in Japan all those years ago in F1. Just shoving and pushing each other off the track, and on that rare rain-soaked Suzuka track. That was like back in 2008.
Very reminiscent, very reminiscent. And I saw JMR really struggle there through the S section. He was really going wide, and I think his car perhaps is not in the right setup window to take advantage of those turns. There is a 5-second being given out to Dastardly for corner cutting. That must have been a severe incident, potentially he avoided. But now he's in a little pack of his own in the back here with Isasco, Tilmo, and Zaccario being close together. And Hazy and Bella are battling into turn 12. Well, we have two cars spinning. That's Yoshi Evil and Hazy Ozzy pirouetting together with some contact, I imagine, into the rear end, causing that. And now they are both down positions. Hazy was your champion last season. And speaking of our championship contenders, Zavgab hasn't made much progress. He's still in 10th place behind Zudi, and we saw him get very close to Zudi's rear end there, as now they head through the very long right-hander, especially in these F2 cars, with Zav looking to perhaps make a move into turn 1. Let's see what he can do here. What kind of exit can he get out of 20 first of all? Looks like he's matching Zudi so far. Zudi has a brief moment on the traction there. What'll happen in turn 1 here, Checo?
I don't know. Let's see what happens. As you see Zudi and Zav really just like pushing each other through that left-hand turn, and Zav comes out the better for wear. The two teammates, Zav and Zudi, as you see Zav coming across on the racing line, going really offensively to Zudi's defensive, and taking advantage of that.
And yeah, that's a great point, Checo. So there are teams to consider here. There is a Constructors' Championship, of course, occurring in the background, which I'm sure these drivers would love to work together and achieve. So I think that perhaps, let Zudi know that, maybe he should let Zav through, and both of them could therefore benefit as Zav tries to cut through the traffic ahead, and Zudi could maybe, stick his nose in there and take advantage of some of those battles. But anyway, in the front, Tige is still struggling to catch up to Kevwood. He is not within the 1 second DRS range, but he is hanging around a similar interval between him and the leader. So I think he's still got a chance for this one. He needs Kevwood to kind of make some mistakes, or he needs to set some really quick laps here, and JJ is still keeping him under pressure. And JJ likes to send some moves for sure sometimes. So Tige has really got to push hard here to get into that DRS range. Then he will be in a position to attack. As we see, keep pushing behind, really struggling to get the car through the long right-hander, lifting off several times there. So the cars are definitely struggling, and I think, like I said earlier, those front tires are going to be destroyed, especially in this Texas heat. Checo, you're familiar with the Texas weather conditions. Would you think any of it is particularly unique to the area? Is there anything we should be discussing or considering?
Definitely with the tire wear, you're going to get a lot of graining out of those front compound tires. The COTA track is really much known for its tire wear for the F1 cars, and as you can see in these F2 cars, it's really much the same with these super softs, only lasting about 5 laps so far, and a lot of the drivers that are on them are struggling to maintain some sort of control, as we see JJ getting another 3-second time penalty, as you alluded to, Greg. So this is just one of many more time sets penalties that we can see from JJ.
Yeah, he's going to rack them up. I don't think his car has enough grip in the front end there. and now he's on those worn tires. And you see keep pushing behind him. He is the highest driver up on the harder, more durable medium tire. So I'm expecting a move, perhaps not now, but coming up soon. And T-Bone now joins the list of the penalized drivers, picking up a 3-second penalty of his own.
Yes, but he's right on the rear end of JMR4. They're really just doing a Stroll and Alonso contacting that, as we saw in the F1 race last year, as we see caution flags in Sector 2 on that long back straight, as we saw T-Bone do his famous bump and run.
Yes, that was a beautiful side pod. I think JMR was squeezing T-Bone a little bit dangerously there on the straight. Kind of excessive if you ask me, and T-Bone just replied with the backhand and said, no, not today. And he let him know how that racing was. So that was very, very precise from T-Bone there, and T-Bone does maintain his position on track as well.
That he does. And that goes right on the inside of that second to last left-hand turn.
Yeah, Zav slices right through there.
T-Bone does not have any reply for that on the last corner. And he doesn't have the DRS either, so he's gonna be really lacking on that upcount to turn 1.
Yeah, and he's got to look out for Bella behind him. Bella's now closing.
Yes.
And finally, Zav is into some clear air, so let's see if he can claw into Ali in P6. But Bella now really pressuring T-Bone as we head through now the high-speed sweeping section. What'll happen here? Oh, Bella using all the track. T-Bone is maintaining his track position for now. Bella is all over the back of him, though. I fear a move may be on the cards very soon.
And as we see the battles that are looming behind them, we got a multi-car not pilot, but a multi-car slipstream train behind Bella and T-Bone, as we see from them in P8, P9, all the way down to P13 in that single train, as we see
there's
Lucario
6
and
cars
Yoshi
here.
going after it.
Oh my god.
And T-Bone losing position after position. We got Hazy back in P8 now, going in 3 wide into the hard left-hand turn. Duty coming out worse, so we had to go back down to P12 so that way he avoided contact.
Oh my goodness, what are we watching here, Checo? 5, 6 cars all on track together. This is looking like the NASCAR race we saw here.
As Bella puts down the inside of Zudi and comes out worse for Eric on the exit side. He's back down to P13 again.
And we did see, I don't know if you saw it, Checo, but we did see T-Bone there with a little bit of a bump and run into turn 12. I think he hit the 2 cars ahead of him, and somehow he is the driver who has emerged ahead of that carnage. So I think that was some experience and some understanding of physics, shall we say, that T-Bone applied to that situation. But now he is ahead of Hazy, but Hazy is going to be pressuring him. Hazy has pace for sure. He is your reigning champion. But Yoshi gives him a little tap in the rear end there over the curb of turn 1. Luckily, they're still going in the right direction.
And even on these medium compound tires, you can see the front right of Yoshi's tire is graining severely as he picks up a penalty, unfortunately, through that S section. Could not optimize the track to his tires.
Yeah, and that's the thing, a lot of these drivers are just coming in here last minute, so perhaps they did not have a setup prepared. And F1 setups do not translate as simply as you might think they do to these F2 cars. There's a lot of differences in the setup inherently, as we see Zaccario now diving to the inside of turn 10, I believe, or 11 it was, on Yoshi's Evil, and Hazy and T-Bone are also engaged in a battle here, with Hazy now opening his DRS. Can he close on T-Bone? I don't think he can right now, but he will remain to put him under pressure. As now we're already on to lap 7. And Tej is still maintained that similar gap to Kevin. He has dropped a couple tenths, but considering it's been 7 laps, that's really not much. So it's really up to the consistency of these two drivers and how they compare. And also, how do those tires last? They're on lap 7 already. I imagine they're going to be pretty worn by now, but maybe they can bite down and get them to the end. And Keep Pushing is looking to take the final podium spot off of JJ, who currently has 6 seconds in penalties next to his name. So Keep Pushing would have that done currently, but I'm sure he wants to get get by him and have a chance to move it up even further, possibly putting the top 2 under pressure on the fresher tires. We see him moving to the inside of turn 1 on JJ Knotts, and that move looked pretty simple. I think the tire wear is starting to kick in here.
Yeah, especially for JJ, he really just likes to push aggressively into his tires, and as you can see, those super softs are not lasting for him whatsoever. But as you can see with Fly with Stefan, really hasn't decreased that gap being on the medium compound tires. So unless something really more drastic happens or the pace just lights up for Stefan and Zav, I don't think they're going to be catching up to top 4.
Yeah,
but we do have the penalty of JJ, so he will be going down the positions at the end of the race.
Definitely, yeah. And I think Zav is going to be fighting here with Stefan coming up soon to see who can get ahead of each other and get close to that podium, perhaps maybe dive into it. But we have not seen a safety car yet either. It's been completely green flag from the beginning, which is a refreshing change from some of the races previously. But we are now getting towards the end here, and yeah, I think the time to pit has now come and gone. So these drivers are perhaps looking to take these tires to the end. Perhaps they are more durable than we think. Yoshi is having a huge battle here with Zakario and Zudi. This little train is still kind of close together. Oh, and we almost had a side-by-side moment there between Yoshi and Hazy, but Yoshi does back out of that one. They head now through the start of Sector 3 there to the long right-hander, which is not flat by any means in these cars. You can see the drivers lifting off a lot there, having to hit multiple apexes, especially in dirty air. It does not, it's not as easy as it looks getting those cars through there.
No, definitely not. But as we were talking, Sweet Teach has actually closed the gap to Kevwood. He's within the 1 second DRS going into the S section of Sector 1. Let's hope that he can keep within that 1 second. So that we can get the DRS for the main straight.
Good eyes, Checo, good eyes. We're definitely going to keep an eye on this. Looks like Kevwood has, I would say, a more stable car through the corners, but potentially Sweet Teej has the better car in the straight line. We had a retirement there. Yoshi's Evil is out of the session. I believe he's just crashed through, just on the exit of turn 3. But no cautions have come out because of that, and I'm actually kind of glad about that, as we see Sweet Teej now putting Kevwood under pressure. And Sweet Teej has a certain fan in the audience tonight that is definitely giving him some motivation. So shout out to Bazoo watching at home. Hopefully you found the stream and you're enjoying it. And you're seeing your young driver do battle here and seeing what he spends all of his time doing. He's putting Kevwood under pressure. And he's looking to put on a show, take the win of this sprint race. We have Zavgab, his fellow Quebecer, making the move on Fly with Stefan into turn 12 for P5. And they are very close to JJ now. As you mentioned, Checo, JJ is destroying those tires. I think he might get a puncture here if he's not careful. That's just my intuition. And Zavgab is really eating into his gap now. He's going to get by him very shortly here, I imagine. Tej is very close to Kevwood, though, as we head now onto the lap 10.
6/10s going to the second last corner. 5/10s, he has a DRS coming up for the first straight going into turn 1. And see what he does with that. Decreasing the gap down to 4/10s. As we see Zav actually challenging JJ Knotts into the last corner and getting the DRS as well. Up to P4.
Very nice. Very nice from Zav. We stay on board with Tej, who's definitely putting Kevwood under pressure, but they both have to be careful here. If they battle too much, that'll allow pushing behind them to swoop in with the faster tires, and he might be able to get to them anyway. Look at him eat away at the time through the S section here. About a 10th per turn. It's looking like this might not be good for the top 2 with 2 laps left, and that is a long time if your tires are in a bad position, but they are definitely going to the end now.
Yes, they have no choice. The F2 pit lap time are going to be super slow in comparison to F1, as we see Sweet going down on the inside of Kev, trying to put him off the knocker, and it has a DRS. As you see him within a tenth, within half a tenth. Kevwood is trying to push him off the track.
Kevwood!
Tej has the racing line, pushes Kev off back. Kevwood goes for the switchback, ending Sector 2 side by side.
This is a titanic battle, and Keep Pushing has sliced through just like we predicted on the newer tires. That is not what they needed. Too much fighting there, but that was some very close action into turn 12 with Kevwood employing some NASCAR tactics, I gotta say. Letting Tej know that he's not going to give up easily on this win, but you can see Pushing now all over the back of Kevwood. Kevwood has a moment through the second last left-hander. Rejoins on the track, looking to battle one last time. They make contact though, and now Tej swoops through and takes the P2 away from Kevwood, who was defending hard earlier. So Tej is now looking to stick with Keep Pushing as we head to the final lap here. Can he challenge on the older tires? That would be remarkable. But at very least, he's looking to keep this P2 away from Kevwood. I think Zav is just a little bit too far back. He will get close to them, but it will be, I believe, a battle between the top three here to determine this winner.
Yes, it will. And as we saw on that front straight, Kevwood was worse for wear as he was not without the DRS, and he was off wide on the last corner.
Oh,
and Sweet Tej is within a second of his teammate. Keep Pushing. Oh, he's out of the DRS zone, but just barely. Let's hope that he can get within that DRS zone, and nope, he is not. He's going to be outside of it by 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, those tires were screaming, I think, on that exit. They were really struggling to get him through cleanly. But he is going to do well, hopefully, to hold on to P2. Kevwood is now struggling, and Zav is all over the back of him. So I think Zav has a chance here for sure, taking the last podium spot into turn 12 for one final chance in this sprint race on the newer tires. Zav takes the inside line, brakes later on the fresher tires with the more grip, and Kevwood can't really do anything about that.
No, it's really unfortunate because Kev was leading the race for like the first 8 laps.
Yeah.
Without having any trouble whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the strategy was definitely key here, is now Zav is putting pressure under Sweet Tej, so he is clawing in. So he was 3 seconds behind him at the start of this lap. 2 corners left. Can he take the second place off of his friend? Is he going to do the Greg Jennings special, the Dream Crusher drive into the last turn? No, not today. Perhaps taking it a little bit easy.
So close, but 0.3 of a second, 0.2 of a second, finishing off 0.2 behind Sweet Tej.
Very close.
You see a Trident 1-2. Keep Pushing coming from.
Look at JJ Checo. He's got the puncture. Look at that. We predicted that one on cue. JJ with the front left puncture. He did lose a lot of spots there, and the penalty is going to hurt him, pushing him to P9. T-Bone is going to finish into P11, with Zudi and P10 getting the last point up for grabs. Didn't see much of these guys this broadcast, but we saw tons of action in the front there, with Keep Pushing ultimately taking the better strategy, the better tires to the end of the race from the beginning for the first place, with Tej finishing 3.4 seconds behind. Very good effort though, keeping those tires into the end. Zavgab just needed literally one more corner, and I think he would have got Tej there. And Kevwood, as you mentioned, Checo, did kind of falter with the tires just ruining his pace, especially at the end there, falling down to P4. Stefan, solid race into P5, and we will see who was after him for the rest of the grid. But now, without even taking a breath, we are going to prepare immediately for the feature race, the longer race of the evening, with the mandatory pit stop being involved as well. I imagine we're going to see some dry weather ahead of us, though, but you never know. As now we see the podium here.
I was really impressed with Fly with Stefan. He is a last-second addition into this F2 race. I really don't think he had a strategy coming into this session, so I was really, really impressed with him with his P5 finish, P4 start. The guy who did start in P1, Ali, finished off in P6.
Nice. So good
as
points.
He gets 3 points to his name to start off this season.
Yes, and yeah, we are at the start of the new season, so of course the dominance we saw is no longer. We have some new faces now taking the lead of the championship as it stands right now, with Keep Pushing taking the top score of 10 points. Zav behind him in P2 taking 8 points, or sorry, that's in P3 with 8 points because he got 2 points for fastest lap. Tej also gets 8, and we continue now with the rest of the grid. Ali, as you mentioned, Checo, solid race in P6. Zakario, another good points result into P7. And Bella is the last person to pick up the last point. I always get that confused with F2. It is the top 8, as long as we have the current format we do have. JJ just misses out with that penalty really hurting him in P9 and the puncture. And Zudi is into P10 there with T-Bone, Hazy, Isasko, Leader. And as we scroll down, Tilmo, Solrak, Dastardly, JMR4, and Yoshi is evil DNFing. That will round out the score sheet for the first event here. All right, so now we are loading in for the second of the 2 races tonight. So, we are going to see those qualifying results carry over. So Zav now will have a clear track in front of him to really see and show us what kind of pace he can put forward. And we'll see if he can pick up the biggest point haul of the night, the 25 points for the race win, for the win of this feature race. I imagine we might be seeing a safety car, but this track is wide open, so who knows? But definitely, we're going to be seeing some pit stops for sure. Those tires were under a lot of pressure last race. Anyone we should look out for, Checo? Who impressed you last race?
Like I said before, Fly with Stefan, as we see Temo leaving this session.
Oh, very nice.
I hope he gets back in before the race starts. As we see a wet track. We see a wet COTA, ladies and gentlemen, within Austin, Texas. As this is really not that well known area to be raining at this time of the year, which takes place usually in November. Really unheard of for Austin to be raining this deep into the year. It's more so in the summer months that you see the rain in Central Texas. But I Fly with Stefan. He's my driver of selection. Him coming in last minute. Him sticking on the P5, he really didn't have much pace on those medium compound tires, but he kept it clean.
And the 5 red lights are up. Sorry to cut you off, Checo. The 5 red lights are up. Zav is now getting underway with keep pushing and putting under pressure into turn 1, but Zav gets a good exit there. Zakario is now going to be on the outside of pushing as all the drivers head through turn 1, with Zav braking much too late there. Or was that keep pushing, rather? Missing the braking point.
Going way too deep. As you see, yellow flags at the exit of Sector 1, as a lot of drivers are worse for wear on those wet compound tires. TCR T-Bone going down to P20.
Yes, this camera angle is actually refreshingly good for a change. We saw the sweeping first sector there with several cars missing the track limits altogether. No one is out, but there was some very, very rough incidents through that first lap. I think this is a really, really hard track condition for these drivers to navigate. Zavgav, though, is doing well, streaking away already. 1.4 seconds now ahead of Zudi. 2.4 seconds with a really good exit there as they head onto the straight for the first time. Zav may be checking out for this race win as long as these things, these conditions remain consistent. But we will see. We see the rain bucketing down here with the wet tires being utilized. There is some lag going on. The trademark Ali U lag is affecting Zakario with Ali's car hopping around. Zakario is not quite sure where he is. I have been there many times. I don't envy him. Zakario's got to keep his
wet compound tires. The F2 cars do not benefit whatsoever from the wet compounds.
Yeah,
even worse than F1.
And the lag as well.
But to the wets, they don't have intermediate tires.
See
Zakario just losing position after position, and Ali freaking colliding with Zudi and the lag spikes. Hopefully Zudi doesn't have any damage as Keep Pushing goes into P3 from Zudi, who really surprised me at the end of Sector 1 during this first lap, going up to P2 as we see our first yellow flags as Nas Forever is the first DNF in this session.
Yeah, the virtual safety car is out, so we're just going to adhere to a delta for a little bit here, so it shouldn't really change much as long as the drivers can keep their nose clean and avoid the very, very deadly and costly drive-through penalty, which is very easy to get. But this is a tough track. I don't think anyone is prepared for this. It is bucketing down here. We see Yoshi changing his wing or just his tires. I didn't quite catch the first part of his pit stop there, but he is the first guy in the pit lane tonight. And yeah, URT Nas causing that virtual safety car to come out through the crash. And yeah, just before that came out, Ali Mo was lagging everywhere, and his lagged car basically shoved Zudi off the track, which caused Zudi, of course, to lose his momentum and his speed. And then to make things worse, you see Ali just flick off into the distance with his car appearing several seconds down the road. So that is just so frustrating, and I'm sure many of the audience members can relate to that, especially racing those two Nigerians. They are our friends, but man, their internet can be problematic sometimes, shall we say. The VSC, though, is still out for now. Oh, it's just ended. Okay, just ended now, and no one has got the drive-through as now we remain racing, and we're watching Sweet Tige, who almost got the race win last race, now battle down the straight towards turn 12 with Zudi and keep pushing in front of him. I don't think he's going to be in a position to make a move, though. Looks like they did accelerate away from each other there. And I'm surprised no one got a drive through there, to be honest. Oh, keep pushing, blows that braking zone through turn 12, which puts him under pressure from Zudi, who goes around the outside of 13. And he makes the move stick for P3, but keep pushing, just fights back, gets the better exit. Now they're side by side through the slow speed third sector. You don't see this very often. Oh, and the tires make contact there right on the apex, and pushing is back through, and he literally pushed right back through past Zudi there to remain in P3. And oh my god, I can't even take a second to breathe here with Hazy Ozzy making the move on Sweet Tige as well. And Yoshi has retired from the session in Sector 3 there. Will that bring out a response from race control? Let's see. I don't think it will. I think we're going to remain green for now.
And that is really fortunate for these drivers, as we want to see this action. We don't want to see constant yellow flags, but we still see that yellow flag in Sector 3. We had while that VSC ended, Timo did rejoin this session, so really glad for him. That is, maybe he can make something of this race down in P17.
Oh, and Leader and Dastard having a good battle here through turn 1. Always nice to see what's going on in the back here. Dastard streaks away.
I saw that as we look on forward to Kevwood. He's battling with Stefan for P9 at this moment. They're a couple seconds behind Bella in P8, as he just finished up Sector 1, as well as Stefan did 2 seconds later. But yeah, Dastardly is doing really well so far. He's one of the more slower drivers, but last season was really impressive from him. Had a few points finishes, and really showed that his F1 pace doesn't equate into F2. So much faster with these cars than in F1.
Yeah, and Zudi and Hazy did also do some battle there onto turn 11, I believe it is, just before the big straight, with Hazy getting through. And we're going to see the battle might continue here with Hazy just missing the braking there. Looks like he does do enough to remain in front for now.
Really off wide with that same braking zone.
Oh,
and
yeah.
passes right by him at the end of Sector 2, going into Sector 3.
Yes, that turn is giving a lot of drivers trouble. We see Leader had a moment there. His car was facing the wrong direction, and he is now recovering. He lost several positions down into P17 with T-Bone just sneaking by Solrak there. And Zudi and Sweet Tige are now in a battle with Bella also being right there around the outside. They keep it clean, remarkably. Oh, and Zudi battles back on the outside of turn 19. He's off the track, and he tries to rejoin, but Bella does not give him the room to do so. And Zudi is now spinning around, losing positions because of that moment. I do think Zudi did potentially have to back off a little bit more there. He did go off the track there. Needs to rejoin safely. But anyway, we continue with the action with Stefan now putting pressure onto Kevwood. Turn 1, just a little bit too far back for now, but he is going to remain right behind him.
Yeah, and as we see with a lot of our racing group is diverse between the wheel and the controller. I don't know how these controller guys do racing to begin with. I myself have a wheel, and I'm not really too good with that one either. But I really hats off to all these controller guys in the soaking wet conditions of COTA with the controller on F2, which you really don't see all that often in COTA, like as I said earlier.
Very unprecedented.
Hazy Ozzy is in P4, 1.5 seconds away from keep pushing 1, 2, 3. And right now we got a Trident 3.5 and a Campos 1 and teammate 1 and 9. Earlier we did have quite a big teammate conditions as Zudi and Zav were 1 and 2, and Trident was a 3 and 4, but that has since ceased to happen.
And Checo, Kevwood has really been struggling on the brakes here. He has locked up or just gone very, very deep off the circuit 2 turns in a row now. And Stefan got very close to being able to make a move there as Kevwood was recovering. I think the track may be transitioning and the grip may be changing, but it is still raining for now. T-Bone and Zudi are now battling through Sector 3 with the rear end being lost there momentarily by Zudi, and T-Bone is now through, but he does have the penalty to worry about. And Tilmo is now battling leader, who is struggling down into P17. In the front, though, as mentioned, we haven't mentioned him in a while. Zav is really getting away from Ali, who's having a very good race in P2, with admittedly some lag helping him out for sure. Keep Pushing is into P3. And Sweetige is now looking to perhaps put Hazy Ozzy under pressure with an 8/10 gap between him and the Irishman in front. And Zudi and T-Bone looks like they're continuing their battle as well. And Sweetige now navigating the fast sweeping Sector 1, which is an absolute pleasure to watch the cars go through, I'm sure. But it's very, very difficult to get this sequence right. If you get that first turn wrong or the first couple turns wrong, you really have no hope of carrying any speed throughout the rest of the sequence. It's very quick, it comes at you very fast. And also, the turns do, increase in radius. They start very quick, and then they get slower and slower as it goes through. Very tough for the drivers. Leader has bit the dust into turn 3, out of turn 3, and that has caused the safety car out of Sector 1, with the marshals having to retrieve his car in these wet conditions. And I think that's a great thing for us, Checo, because what this will do is this will allow, first of all, the field to bunch up and put Zav under a little bit more pressure than perhaps he was. And also, maybe we could see a chance for the game to produce some dry weather conditions for us. It's always great to have a transition in the race, but now we have the safety car coming out here on lap 5. So I imagine pit stops will be available. It's just a question of what strategy to choose from here. I imagine, obviously, it's still raining, so you want to put those rain tires on. But maybe there's some dry weather on the way. We will see.
Yes, that's the thing that we don't know about these races, ladies and gentlemen. We had no idea that the feature race conditions were going to be wet from the sprint as they were dry. No idea whatsoever, as they are back-to-back sessions, so it does not compute with as to what the weather is going to be. As Zav is the first car into the pits, has almost a 10-second gap to Ali onto this first safety car, or second safety car if you want to count the virtual one that we had on lap 1.
Some awkwardness entering the pit lane there between Pushing and Ali, but everyone is now piling into the pits. You'd have to be crazy to stay out, but look at Sweetige go. He is staying on the old tires, looking to take the lead off of his friend Zav, who will be, I'm sure, putting him under a great deal of pressure on those fresh, wet tires. Let's see if that pays off for Sweetige. I think for him, what he's hoping for is an immediate change in the conditions. We did see T-Bone pick up a penalty there for some corner cut or track limit infraction. Tige, goes way too quickly, and he goes past the safety car. He's got to be very careful with that. Oh my goodness, he was so lucky he did not get disqualified there. The game is usually very ruthless with that. That was a heart-and-mouth moment for me and the audience, I'm sure. Man, Tige almost threw the race away there. But I think he's going to have a really tough time now on those old tires. I don't think they're in very good condition, and everyone behind him is on the fresher tires. Let me pull up the tire information. And yeah, everyone in the field besides Sweet Tige pit for tires. Oh, and also JMR4 as well. So
and Isasco.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Isasco as well.
With a penalty, has a Invicta 3-4 with his teammate Ali.
And speaking of penalties, we have 5 seconds next to Isasco's name for now. He can get rid of that if he can pit again. It will just be served in the pit lane. Solrak has 3 seconds, and then T-Bone is struggling with the track limits tonight. 12 seconds in penalties. He did come very, very late. Perhaps he didn't have a proper setup for this track, and of course, for this particular situation with the wet conditions still remaining here, perhaps we might be staying wet for the rest of the race. We will see. It might take a while for this to dry out, but one thing's for sure: the game and also, the environment, the location can become very hot very quickly. So let's see what remains ahead of us. But I am nervous for Sweet Tige.
Throughout this time is the racing, though.
Oh yes,
I'm really impressed with these guys.
Yeah, it's been pretty good actually, pretty clean. Couple rear ends being tapped, but nothing too out of the question beyond the confines of a dangerous sport that is racing. Yeah, I mean, it's been a really solid race with some really close action. I'd like to see Zav have to work a little bit harder, personally myself, for the race win of this feature race, but behind him is very, very close. And now we see Isasco perhaps double rethinking that decision. He is now in the pit lane, and unfortunately he was better off, I'm sure, pitting on the first occasion, as now the grid has started to form up and he will lose a lot of spots here. He will be on the freshest tires, but that won't mean much considering the race has been behind a safety car here. And I think we are going to get going soon.
To get rid of too, so he's
right.
jumping even more positions
right.
as well.
Yeah, he really should. I think he really should have acted sooner on that. Maybe the dry conditions that potentially are on the way, perhaps are not coming as quickly as expected. But now I'm expecting the race to get underway soon. We have been under the safety car for quite some time. Maybe we'll get underway on this lap, lap 7 into 8, or at maximum I imagine it'll be 8 into 9. So not too much longer. Already we are towards the end of our event tonight with just over, I guess it is, well, my math is terrible right now, 8 or 9 laps, whatever it is, left in our race tonight. It's been a really good one so far. Let's see what happens here. But hopefully we get started soon.
Yeah, I really do think that Zav is going to put... Oh, Sweet Tige actually did pit as well. He's down into P9. He did pit on that second safety car lap. So he, like Ali, are on the freshest set of tires, but he lost all his positions that he fought so hard to gain for the first safety car.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Should have just pulled the trigger earlier, but of course, easier said than done. It's always tough, especially when you're in an unfamiliar position, or you're in the front and no one's in front of you, no one to react to. You're kind of in an island, and of course, this isn't a robust racing series where you actually have a team telling you things. It's purely up to you as a driver alone in your room, figuring things out on the fly, so that can cause some problems right now. Speaking of problems, Dastardly had a minor moment there, and he lost the position to JJ under the safety car. Speaking of the safety car, is it going to go in here? I'm not sure.
It'll be a very late call if it does.
Yeah.
Which it looks like it will not, because it's going to the second to last turn. This will be the latest that I've seen it go in.
Yeah, and it is passed.
It's going into turn 22.
So one more cautionary lap to do to allow the marshals to clean up that wreck from, I believe it was Leader who started it. Oh, and T-Bone picks up a drive-through for falling too far back. Don't see that very often, but that's really ruined T-Bone's race. T-Bone's now going to have to wait for the safety car to go in and then serve that penalty, which will drop him a pit stops distance roughly behind the nearest car, and that's going to be really hard. Oh, we had a moment there under the safety car. Solrak hit the back of Zudi and lost some, that was Isasco, sorry, hit the back of Zudi and lost some of his front wing end plate, I believe, on the left side. That is really going to hurt Isasko's chances, especially on this track, which you need all the aerodynamic grip you could get. That was very clumsy under the safety car there. Why are you getting that close to people? You should be being safe, hence the name the safety car, but we digress and move on after that tasty moment. You can never take a break, right, Checo? You got to always keep an eye on these safety cars. I don't know what T-Bone's doing.
T-Bone is just cutting constant corners. He's risking a disqualification from this race.
Oh yeah,
he has let loose of all his screws. As he goes into the safety car and does a DNF.
T-Bone just makes a statement to race control. He is not happy with how this race has been handled. He tries to take out Burt Maylander in the AMG safety car, but if you've ever played the game, you'd know that safety car is like a titanium brick fixated to the track like a big freight train. You can't do anything about it. And T-Bone sacrifices his car valiantly on lap 8. In real life, that would probably extend the safety car, but this is the game where we can snap our fingers and make things disappear, and we are now getting ready to get going. Lap 8 on to lap 9 with Zavgab looking to set off the field, and Ali, as earlier, is the driver behind him. Looking to put him under pressure. Let's see what happens. What kind of exit and start can Zav get? I imagine he is going to perhaps go a little bit earlier than Ali might expect. It's kind of hard to accelerate out of that corner. So look out and watch for Zav to quickly bolt away, and let's see how the reactions behind him are.
The people who have gained the most from the safety car are Ali. He's gained 8 positions. Hazy has gained 12. Bella 13. And Daster going up 8 positions to P11.
That's awesome. So now we see the race being under control from Zav, and Zav has bolted, and he has bridged a gap, which is almost a second long, to Ali, the car behind him. So Zav has done enough to keep his nose clean, and I think Zav will be in a comfortable position as long as he can keep this first lap tidy. We see Fly with Stefan making the move on Kevwood, who had a bad moment out of the last, turn there. With Kevwood looking to battle back into turn 1. Who gets the better braking here? Kevwood goes a little bit deep, but Stefan goes even deeper, and both the drivers force each other into a mistake, and they both let several cars by there, with Sweet Cheese sneaking through into P7. That was really, really close. Luckily, there's no cars directly ahead of them when that happened.
Yeah, absolutely. As Sweet Cheese was licking his lips saying, give me those positions back. I want them from pitting under the safety car laps, losing from P1. Cario up to P6, and Bella gaining 13 positions, staying in P5.
And Hazy is right beside, keep pushing. Oh, they make contact on, I think that's turn 10. You don't see many battles through there. They somehow survive, and now Hazy's looking to make the move. Oh,
Hazy
but he dives!
Goes really deep in that corner,
yes.
absolutely outbraking himself, going into Ali as part of his brake pedal.
And keep pushing was pushed. Again, I'm going to use the pun off the track there. And Hazy was a little bit aggressive. Perhaps that drive, the title defense, getting to him a little bit on lap 9 here. With the conditions still remaining constant, so I do think we're going to remain wet for the remainder of this race. Man, that was very, very close to potentially some drivers being out there.
Yeah, as we saw, Keep Pushing just really got off. Worse for wear from the absolute late braking of Hazy and not knowing the braking point in these wet compound tires. Probably cold from all those laps under the safety car.
Yeah, it's very hard
for Keep Pushing to go down that way.
Yeah, very hard to get the tires into temperature in these conditions, and particularly this car and track combination. I think that would be more of a challenge because you're going so slow. Dastardly made the move on JJ there, perhaps JJ having a moment. Zavgab now sets the fastest lap, and he is, I'm sure, in a very comfortable position. It's really up to him to see this race out, to pick up this win of the first race of the season.
Drifting into turn 1, Zavgab goes.
Oh, okay.
He actually increases the gap from 2.8 seconds to 3.1 to Ali.
So,
and
yeah.
Hazy is creeping up to Ali in P2.
And
as that gap continues to increase to P1.
This is the first race of the season, so this kind of sets your path. You know, you can always recover, but of course you want to start out in a good position and you know, have consistency. So Zav is, I think, looking to be the highest scorer right now out of this first weekend, with I think 11 races ahead of us, 11 more weeks of F2 action before the season concludes. So lots of races to keep an eye on coming up. If you are enjoying this, consider subscribing, liking, commenting, all that good stuff on the video, sharing this with your friends and family. I'm sure that'd be really cool to spread the word and get some more eyes on this action. I really think it does deserve the attention we are giving it right now, as now we head back onto the straight with some weaving being done by Hazy and Bella trying to break the toe. And Hazy is right behind Ali as well. Very, very close pack here. P2 through P5. Ali goes a little deep there, opens the door for Hazy on the outside. Will Ali be sensible here? Looks like Hazy has the grip to go around the outside. Bella is watching from behind the two drivers. And Hazy makes the incredible move there. Very, very nicely done on the outside of turn 13, I believe it is. Very, very nicely executed. And Bella's looking to copy him.
Saw Bella just eating his bag of popcorn, just wondering when he can put his car into the P3 position of Ali. And keep pushing is right on the tail of Bella by 0.5 of a second, down 3 positions from his starting position of P2, as it was before the unfortunate incident with Hazy. As actually he's up to P2 as he has passed Ali from one of those last 2 corners.
Very nice.
0.6 gap to P3 and 6 seconds to Zav, as he is comfortably chasing himself away from this pack.
Yeah, looks like Ali's a bit of a cork in the bottle right now. Several drivers are pulling up down to P5 with Sweet Cheese having a little moment there. He was closer a second ago, but now he's 3 seconds down on Keep Pushing. And Stefan is fighting Zakario, who also had a moment, I believe, as Zakario lost several positions there. And also Zakario does have the penalty to worry about, so perhaps he could fall a little further. But anyway, a great little battle here with Ali conducting a train for us all to keep an eye on. Let's see what happens here between Bella and Ali now, heading towards turn 11, I believe it is. Can Bella make the move now, or perhaps he'll wait? Maybe the moment will come to him. Ali is again lagging. You can see his car skipping around, which is very problematic if you're trying to go wheel to him in these conditions as well. Let's see if Bella can kind of rip the band-aid off and get by Ali quickly here.
Yeah, let's see, as we had caution flags in sector 1 as Telmo retired in the pit lane, as Bella goes way off track.
Yes.
After that, the hard turn left, as Keep Pushing has moved up to P4 once more, and Sweet Teach is 1.5 seconds behind Bella. So Bella really put himself off on that deep left-hand corner, as he has lost 1 position already, as he was battling for P3 with Ali.
Yeah, he had a bad sequence of events there. Him and Keep Pushing were very close heading down into that braking zone. And Bella decided, okay, wherever Pushing is going to brake, I'm going to brake that extra bit later. But it was just far too late for his car to handle and slow him down properly. Luckily, he didn't go too deep off the track, because that would really hurt his chances. Stefan and Kevwood are battling through the last turn, with Kevwood overshooting a little bit, as now they keep the side-by-side action. But Stefan gets the better exit, with Kevwood recovering from that scary moment into P8 now. Zudi getting by Zakario, who is in the pit lane.
I wonder why, because I
wonder
don't see
why,
any damage
yeah.
on his car.
Exactly. Is he serving a penalty? No, he's not. Not sure what happened there. He's just getting a new set of boots on, which will put him very close to the last position, I believe. And effectively, he is the last position on track, with JMR being a ghosted AI behind him. So, yeah, he is in last place. I don't see the rain relenting either, so now I think it's at the point where we are going to stay in these conditions till the end. So no DRS has been available to us for this race, but to be honest, we haven't really needed it. It's been a really good, tidy race, lots of action. Keep Pushing has a moment though, speaking of which, with Bella through turn 10 with
Teach getting 2 positions back up to P4 as a result from pushing at Bella.
Oh no,
as
they're
still
not happy.
fighting into that corner.
They're not happy. I think there's some aggression being taken out there, and Sweet Teach says hello, goodbye. into P4. There was some rubbing there, though, between Bella and Pushing, so I didn't quite see the whole moment there. To be honest, I wasn't even aware they were in a battle riding on board with one of them. And now Pushing has decided to take the aggressive approach and have a huge dive on Bella, perhaps repaying the favor for earlier. And the pun is just so good, I'm going to keep going. He pushed Bella out of the way there into P5.
Yes, and as we see, Zudi is up to P9 as a result from these the late call to pit from Sicario. He does not have any penalties so far, so he suits to gain at least 2 if he maintains a gap to flying with Stefan and Kev would. Be really good for Zudi to start off this season with a few points-paying positions.
And just to look at this race as a whole, I have now added the position change information. So the really big gainer so far in the event tonight is Hazy Aussie, moving up 14 spots with the shaky start there, now into P2, and he's comfortably in that position. Ali also having a good race, but we see Pushing missing the mark again into turn 1, and he did make contact with the wall there, which put him down many positions now into P9 with potentially some damage to deal with. Anyway, Tej is up 2 spots. Bella is up 13 as well. Those are your largest gainers, with Sicario losing 11 spots, being your biggest loser so far in the race.
Yes, and Pushing is probably going to be on the last grid because he did lose all of his front wing from that incident in turn 1.
Yeah, okay, you can see his car there, just the nose cone on, no wing to provide any grip, or just actually maybe there's just some damage to it. It is still there, but it's definitely hampered. I did see some bodywork flying there, and he's going to be feeling that, especially in these conditions.
Luckily, as according to our settings, or league racing settings, we only have reduced damage.
Oh,
which
yeah.
really does benefit these drivers, as if we had any higher damage levels, then there'll be wings off left and right and rear and
yes,
back wing
definitely.
damage and maybe even floor damage if you had the simulation.
While these drivers are very talented, we do have to have some contingency plans sometimes. So yeah, it is a little bit more forgiving, the damage, particularly on the F2 cars especially. They seem very robust, potentially the lower speeds, maybe giving the game's engine a little bit of a fit, because I think some of these crashes I've seen, even with the reduced damage, should have been a DNF. But that is helping them out, just taking a little bit of the edge off some of these big whacks into the wall. And right now, our closest drivers together are Bella and Sweet Tej, battling for P4, as Zav has now taken started the lap, on to lap 14. So we are getting very close now to the end. And Rain will be sticking with us to the end. And to be honest, it's been amazing. So I think this might be something we might need to revisit in the future. Let's see what happens, though, on this third last lap between P5 and P4. And there are some penalties to worry about as well. Let's pull that up really quickly. 3 seconds pretty much for everyone besides JJ, who has 6. So those drivers will be hampered by that. But everyone else is doing a really good job keeping the car on the track, especially after the sprint race. I think there was more in the sprint race than we have now. So perhaps some drivers getting some experience and getting to grips with this circuit.
As we see, Sweet Tej is gaining on Ali, has 1.4 seconds to him, as Bella is 0.7 seconds away from coming back to Sweet Tej for P4. It would be really impressive if Sweet Tej can get a double podium for the sprint and feature race in this F2 championship.
Yeah, and
really
he's getting closer. Yeah,
to his that's watching him, and hopefully that he can execute the double podium. That'll be really awesome for him.
Yeah, he is gaining time. Yeah, and I think he has a good car in the straight line as well. So if he does get up to Ali, I think he can make the move. But Bella's saying, you know what, you got to worry about me. He moves to the inside for P4, which pushes them further back from Ali. Ali wants them to keep battling. Sweet Tej responds into 13 with some slight contact on the apex. Sweet Tej is battling hard. He is through. This is very hard to keep it side by side through here, but the drivers keep it relatively clean. And Bella picks up a 3 second for cutting the inside there. You just saw his tires cut over the curb, and that will, I'm sure, allow Sweet Tej to have perhaps a little bit more breathing room, but perhaps Bella might be attacking him anyway. He's right behind him now as Zav starts the lap for lap 15. Way ahead, 10.2 seconds ahead. Let's forget he's even in the in the lead for now, because he has dominated this one. Kevwood and Stefan had a moment there, and Stefan comes off worse for wear, losing many positions and looking to pit, potentially to fix some damage to his car. I think that was on turn 19, some contact on the apex. We have seen that a couple times today. Unfortunate for Stefan, would have loved to see what happened there. And he has retired. So yeah, he sees the writing on the wall. The race is pretty much done for him with only 2 laps being left. No way you're going to claw back anything after pitting at this late in the race.
Yes, absolutely not. Unfortunate for Stefan.
So we ride on board with Sweet
Tej. P5 and Kevwood up to P6.
Kevwood up to P6, that's correct. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there between him and Stefan. But we will digress and remain on board with Sweet Tej, who did gain into Alimo or Aliu, whatever he's going by now, who has now bridged the gap under a second. So this could be really close. He's going to really have 2 main opportunities. This is the first one right now, and I think he's too far back with Ali gaining several tenths in the acceleration zone there. But look out for Tej to put Ali under pressure for this last podium spot. And Bella is also lingering.
As we see, Sweet Tej's car is definitely helping him in the straights. He gained 0.2 of a second on that back straight alone. As Bella is increasing and decreasing depending on which braking zone as he tries to have a look on the inside, but Sweet Tej says, no, thank you, I'm going to keep this racing line there, sir.
Yeah, Tej needs to stay with Ali, so he can't let Bella, fight him too much here. He's got 1 more lap to make something happen. The drivers are struggling. We see some cars shaking around a little bit as we head through the long right-hander. Zav now crosses the line for the 16th and final lap, and we're going to stay on board here with Tej, looking to snatch this podium in the dying breaths here. How does Ali compose himself in this last lap? He's going to be feeling the pressure, but Tej perhaps is a little bit too, getting a little bit trigger happy on the throttle, losing a little bit of touch with Ali through turn 20, now heading down to turn 1 for the final time.
Tenth of a second separating between Bella and Sweet Tej, as Bella does increase the gap, but Sweet Tej does pull alongside of Ali on that for a moment on turn 1. Ali did not get much of a good exit from that corner.
And this is critical now. Tej has to nail this section. He needs to be as close as he can possibly get to Ali. He does have some straight line speed. And also we do have Stefan also joining us now. He did give us some information. He did have a crash of his own through turn 19, so no funny business there. That clears that up. But we remain with Sweet Tej, who now is fighting the car through turn 9 and 10 and looking to make the move on Ali.
Bella was basically pushing Sweet Tej into those
corners,
no! As we see a possible move on the inside between Bella and Sweet Tej going into this long straight of sector 2. As Bella does come off in the P4 position. However, they are neck and neck on this back straight. Sweet Tej's straight line speed is benefiting him as Ali is thanking his Lord and Savior, whatever he chooses to worship, on this back straight.
Yeah.
He has a 0.5 of a second gap between him and Sweet Tej, as Sweet Tej puts it on the outside of that.
Can he go for it? On the inside! Ali is late on the brakes. Bella is, of course, giving Sweet Tej a hard time here. I'm sure Tej is frustrated, but Bella is, of course, allowed to do this within the rules. Oh, we see some contact there with Tej losing the car and losing touch to Alimo. And that has put an end to that chance, I believe, for P3. Tej getting so close, but perhaps a little bit too close. And Zav crosses the line to take the dominant win for round 1 of Season 2 here for the Flower Cup. It has flown by. We are already done with Hazy celebrating, having a great race into P2. Ali with some leg, I'm sure, helping him, finishing off strong with a brief moment there into P3. Tej getting so close, just not quite close enough, but still a very, very strong race and overall weekend for him. Bella and P5 with the penalty over his head. Zudi finishes into P6 with Keep Pushing battling back into P7 past Kevwood, who remains into P8. Isasko Ali's brother does pick up the double points for the Nigerian brothers into P9. Awesome job. And Zakario is the last driver to score points tonight, with Dastardly just missing the mark in P11. JJ having a tough race tonight with the penalties and the contact. And Solrak will be the last driver who is actually present here to cross the line. And that will see us out for our race tonight. I think that was a really good one. Particularly the battle with Sweet Tej there in the end was really exciting. Zav looked really, really impressive. We are missing Chenzo tonight, who I'm sure will have his response next time we see him on track. He's definitely going to give Zav a run for his money this season. But overall, I like what I'm seeing so far as Solrak now crosses the line, finishing off the race for us. What an event. Checo, what stands out for you? Who's your driver of the night? Who do you think had the most effective weekend, shall we say?
I'm going to put between a really good comeback drive for Ali, really, really impressive, relying on his 5-go Internet of Lag into some situations during that feature race. However, I did like the consistency for Sweet Tej. He really knew how to manage his battles, but really came off worse for wear on the last lap, unfortunately. But really good P4 finish for him. Got a boatload of points between the P2 finish from the sprint and P4 from the feature, and 0 penalties from him. But might I add, really good racing between him, Keep Pushing, and Ali.
And as you mentioned, Sweet Tej there, he was the second highest scorer of the weekend. So very, very effective race overall, both of them for him. But Zavgav is, of course, your highest scorer, picking up the pole position. I think that's 3rd place in the sprint, and the race win with the fastest lap tacked on there as well, giving him a total of 34 points. Sweet Tej is next highest with 20. Ali does a very nice job, to pick up 18. With Hazy also getting 18 points. Keep Pushing had some moments there for sure for us to watch, with 16 points. 11 points will be the next highest score for Bella. Kevwood, and that's a pretty even, consistent 10 points between the two races. Zudi getting 8. Stefan gets 4 points. Zakario a total of 3. And Isasko gets the last 2 points of the event. That was an incredible weekend. Thank you for joining me, everyone. And of course, thank you, Checo, for coming in, joining the booth. I'd love to have you in here again, if you'd be down for that, of course. But any final thoughts from you, sir, before we round up the evening tonight?
No final thoughts. I can't wait till we race again next Tuesday. We're gonna be at
Monaco.
We're gonna be at Monaco. Really good race. That'll be really interesting for these drivers. I hope that these battles can keep up with Monaco. The jewel of the F2 calendar and F1 calendar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thoughts. Can't wait for it to happen.
Thank you, Checo, and that's going to be a great race to keep an eye on. I think Monaco is a little bit more conducive for racing for F2 than F1. And we will look forward to that event, which is going to be the same time, same place, Tuesday, 8 p.m. on the Greg Jennings YouTube channel, your home of any Flower Cup broadcast. So glad to have you with us tonight. Again, please share with your friends, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. It's all appreciated. It all goes a long way. And we will see where this series takes us in a couple years' time, potentially. But that has been it for us tonight. Myself and MCP Checo are going to sign off for the evening. Great evening for us to really enjoy together. And again, I really enjoyed being here with you, Checo. So hopefully I'll see you in the next one. That has been it for us for the Flower Cup. We will see you next Tuesday. Have a good night, and bye-bye for now.